This is part 2 to my previous Minecraft survival guide episode on villagers. If you haven't watched that one yet, highly recommend watching it first and then coming back to this one, as there's lots of important information. Villagers and their trades sound great on paper, but they can be crazy expensive. To get good trades, sometimes you have to level them up with useless trades as well, which can start to cost you a ton of emeralds. But don't worry, in this video, I'll be showing you some of the best villager professions and trades you can get to not only make a ton of emeralds, but also get all the best items in the game. Now, one of the easiest ways to make emeralds early on is with a fletcher. You create a fletcher using a fletching table, and while he does sell arrows, that's honestly not why we want him. We want him because he'll literally buy sticks. Yeah, that's it. Go punch a tree, turn the logs into planks, craft the planks into sticks, and sell those sticks back to him for emeralds. It's one of the easiest emerald farms in the early game, especially if you've got plenty of forests nearby. Another villager you'll definitely want is the farmer. Farmers use composters as their workstation, and they'll happily buy crops like wheat, carrots, and potatoes from you for emeralds. Now, I know I haven't properly covered farming in this series yet, but thankfully it's one of the easiest mechanics in the game. Till some dirt with a hoe, place water nearby, plant your crops, and wait. Wheat comes from seeds that drop when you break grass, while carrots and potatoes can simply be planted directly once you found your first ones. There, ultimate farming guide complete. Once you level up the farmer by trading with him, he unlocks one of the best trades in the game, golden carrots. Now, I know they don't exactly sound exciting. They sound more like somebody accidentally dipped a carrot in expensive paint. But golden carrots are actually the best food in Minecraft. They restore a huge amount of hunger. They keep your hunger bar full for longer than almost any other food. And once you've got a farmer selling them, you'll never have to worry about your food supply ever again. Which is why I would always keep at least one farmer around. The next two villagers go together, the armorer and the weaponsmith. The armorer uses a blast furnace as his workstation, while the weaponsmith uses a grindstone. While their beginning trades aren't great, as you trade with them, they'll gradually level up, unlocking better and better trades until they eventually start selling enchanted diamond armor and weapons. If you've somehow been incredibly unlucky finding diamonds, this can be an amazing shortcut. Both villagers also buy iron from you for emeralds. Now, right now, that probably sounds like a pretty mid deal. Iron still feels valuable at this stage of the series. Remember that trade, because in a future episode, we're going to build an automatic iron farm that produces more iron than you'll know what to do with. Once that happens, selling iron to villagers goes from sounding ridiculous to becoming one of the easiest sources of emeralds in the game. Finally, there's the cleric. You create a cleric by placing a brewing stand next to an unemployed villager, which works out perfectly, because if you've been following the previous episode, you should already have blaze rods from exploring the nether. Early on, clerics buy rotten flesh. Yes, the stuff you've probably been throwing on the ground every single night after fighting zombies. Instead of treating it like garbage, you can turn it into emeralds. Then, after leveling the cleric up, he'll eventually start selling ender pearls, which are one of the most important items we'll need later in the series when it's finally time to track down the end portal. Now, those are what I consider the essential villagers. The rest really come down to how you like playing the game. If you enjoy exploring, a cartographer can sell maps leading you to nearby structures. If you're into building, a mason can trade you all kinds of decorative blocks. And on the topic of building, if you're somehow still living in the little dirt shelter we made on our first night, don't worry, we'll fix that in the next episode. For now, after hearing all that, there's probably one problem you're already noticing. These trades aren't exactly cheap. Maybe your enchanted books cost 40 plus emeralds. Maybe your diamond chestplate costs half your life savings. And while you can just keep farming more emeralds, there's actually a much better solution. We're going to intentionally let a zombie attack our villagers. Now, before you freak out, just hear me out. If a zombie kills a villager, that villager has a chance to turn it into a zombie villager instead of simply dying. On easy and normal difficulty, there's a chance they'll just disappear forever, which is obviously not ideal. But on hard difficulty, that chance becomes 100%. Every villager a zombie kills will become a zombie villager instead. Here's the thing though, they can be brought back from the dead after becoming zombies. And not only do they retain all their previous trades, they literally go god mode. But before you start releasing zombies into your village left and right, zombie villagers burn in direct sunlight, and it would be pretty unfortunate if your money-making strategy ended with your villager bursting into flames. It doesn't have to be pretty at all, you can even just use dirt. Once everything's ready, lead a zombie to the villager and let it attack the villager until it transforms. Then quickly kill the zombie and separate the zombie villager from any other villagers nearby so you don't accidentally start a zombie apocalypse in your village. Now all that's left is curing it. To cure a zombie villager, you'll need 2 items, a splash potion of weakness and a golden apple. The golden apple is the easy part. Just surround a regular apple with 8 gold ingots and a crafting table. The splash potion of weakness, on the other hand, sounds a little bit more intimidating, but it's actually not too bad. Start by crafting a brewing stand using 1 blaze rod and 3 cobblestone. Then craft some of your extra blaze rods into blaze powder, since that's what fuels the brewing stand. If you need to make a trip back to the nether to get more blaze rods, by the way, don't worry, that's perfectly fine and recommended sometimes. You can even get more resources for brewing later down the line, like a nether wart, which will be useful later. Just remember the tips mentioned in the previous nether episode and you'll be fine. Anyways, next, fill a few glass bottles with water and place them into the brewing stand. After that, craft a fermented spider eye using a spider eye, some sugar, and a brown mushroom. Spider eyes come from spiders, sugar comes from sugarcane, you can find lots of sugarcane along rivers, and brown mushrooms are pretty common in forests and caves in shaded areas. Brew that fermented spider eye into the water bottles and they'll become potions of weakness. Finally, add gunpowder to turn them into splash potions. I know that sounds like a lot of ingredients, but once you've made them once, you'll realize they're actually pretty straightforward. Now, simply throw the splash potion of weakness at the zombie villager, then right-click it with the golden apple. The zombie villager will start making some deeply unsettling noises, shake violently for a few minutes, and generally look like it's having the worst day imaginable. Don't worry, that's supposed to happen. Just give it a few minutes, and eventually it'll transform back into a normal villager. Now, open up its trades. Notice anything different? Everything's cheaper. Sometimes a little cheaper, sometimes a lot. An enchanted book that used to cost over 30 emeralds might suddenly cost 1. Diamond gear becomes incredibly affordable. Trades that once felt outrageously expensive suddenly become so cheap that emeralds almost stop mattering. It's honestly one of the strongest mechanics in the entire game, and if you're planning on doing a lot of villager trading, I would absolutely recommend curing all of your important villagers at least once. You can even set up your villager trading hall to have automatic zombification at the click of a button, but that's a bit advanced. Now, before we finish, there are a few smaller villager mechanics that are worth knowing because Minecraft doesn't exactly tell you about them. First, villagers need access to their workstation even after they've already got a profession. You might notice that after buying the same trade several times, it suddenly gets a little red X through it and becomes unavailable. Don't panic, the villager hasn't permanently run out. As long as they can reach their workstation, they'll periodically work during the day and restock all of their trades. So if your librarian stops selling mending for a while, just let him get back to work and check again later in a few hours. Second, try not to hit your villagers. I know, sometimes they're standing in the doorway, sometimes they walk directly in front of your pickaxe while you're mining, but resist the urge. Attacking villagers dramatically increases their trade prices, and even if they're unemployed, the villager you hit can still crap talk you to other villagers and increase their prices for you too. Considering we've just spent the last 10 minutes making everything cheaper, it would be a shame to ruin it because somebody decided to stand in the wrong place. Finally, whichever route you chose earlier, whether you expanded the village or built a trading hall, make sure the entire area is well lit. The last thing you want is a zombie spawning inside your village in the middle of the night and undoing hours of work. Villagers might honestly seem boring when you first find them. They just wander around making weird noises and somehow spend an entire day walking 5 blocks. But once you understand how they work, they become the backbone of almost every successful survival world. They give you the best enchantments in the game, the best food in the game, and eventually make almost every stage of progression dramatically easier. So if you've been ignoring villages this whole time, hopefully this changes your mind. Build yourself a trading hall or expand your village if that's more your style. Get yourself some librarians, farmers, a few other key professions, and before long, you'll wonder how you ever played Minecraft without them. If you guys did enjoy this video, then please consider dropping a like and a sub, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye!